just when you thought we were in the clear with COVID and everything was starting to settle and get back to normal, Mr. Omicron rears his ugly head, and it feels like 19 months later, we're back to square one. You know, in the NHL, over 100 players tested positive for COVID this past week, leading to a bunch of games being shut down, postponed, all of that. And then a bunch of teams have postponed all team activities until after the Christmas break. And it's pretty evident at this point that NHL players are not going to be going to the Olympics. Frankie, Bobby and I both got to give you props because on Want to Bet about a month ago, you were the one that said you want to bet they're not going to end up going. And us, we thought of it from a league perspective that like the league didn't want to go. We didn't even fathom that COVID could spike the way it did. Shame on us. And here we are, though. You are correct. Yeah, you know what they say. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So credit to you for being right on that one. But where does the NHL and international hockey go from here? And that's the discussion we're going to go with right now. What did they do with international hockey? Because we all want to see it. We all want to see Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon and Sidney Crosby play on the same team against other best-on-best competition. But it's not going to be in the Olympics. So if you were running the NHL, if you were running the Players Association, what would you be proposing to get that still started? Because it is good for the game when we have those tournaments.
Well, up until about 5 minutes ago, I was going to say one thing, but now that the NHL has announced that they're going to use the February break for those games that are that they have to make up, I was going to suggest that they use the All-Star break for that best-on-best tournament. And having it in Vegas, perfect location to do it. You'll get a lot of participation. You take the
Frankie's been having some technical difficulties right here. I'm going to cut in because I don't want to just have that frozen face staring at me, not talking. But I don't know if the All-Star break would be long enough to do a tournament like that. Right, Bobby?
I don't think so either. I wonder if they could do – I've always considered this, why teams don't do like the – I know obviously it doesn't – it's not the same, but I love – like Champions League, and nothing will repeat Champions League, but it'd be nice if there was like an in-season tournament. The NBA needs it more than anything because the NBA regular season is irrelevant. Irrelevant. I don't think I've watched one NBA game this year.
Yeah, I've watched a couple here and there. I'm going the opposite direction. I don't know how I feel about the in-season tournaments at all. You know, in 2010 and 2014, I loved in-season Olympics because my team, the Leafs, were terrible. So a nice 2-3 week break from watching that terrible hockey was it was welcome. Loved it. But now I have a team that's fun to watch. They're a competitive team. I don't know if I want my players stopping the season, going to play in a very competitive international tournament and risking getting hurt. If you remember in 2014, John Tavares, I believe the Islanders were a couple points out of a playoff spot. Tavares got hurt at the Olympics and was not available for the team the rest of the season. They ended up fizzling out. So Islander fans, yes, you did need him then. You do need him now. But do we really want to? Do I want to risk my players getting hurt at an international tournament? I would, to be honest. My idea is you still want them to be in the Olympics. Why not just have them play in the Summer Olympics? I know hockey is a winter sport, but basketball is a winter sport. It's played in the winter, and they play in the Summer Olympics. Why not? It doesn't interfere with the season. It's in the summer.
But it's not a summer sport.
But basketball's not either.
Basketball. Try telling GTHL parents it's not a summer sport.
That too.
Here's my thing. Listen, if you want to, I don't care about these like best on best things because we know what's going to happen. Canada's going to win because they're the best country and that's it. If you really want to do this, if you're the Olympics, and it would take a lot of the luster out, but most of the players are in the NHL. Can they not play the games remotely somewhere here in North America? Send all the Olympic athletes that were going to play in the Olympics, send them here, have them play in their 2-week tournament.
So you want them to play the Olympics, but not at the Olympics?
Yes, be it remotely.
Yeah, I I've heard that. I've heard that one too. I think what you don't get is that actual Olympic experience, staying in the Olympic Village, going to watch other events. There's
Yes.
Of course, but
an
this is
atmosphere.
COVID.
That's why it'll never be. Listen, even if they're going to the Olympics, just like they did the Summer Olympics, you come in, you play your event, you leave. You can't stay there. You can't go out and roam and go watch other events. Stuff. It's already non-Olympic experience, right? So technically, what Rob is proposing, what's any different than what's going on right now, right? Why do you have to be in China to play this? Play it somewhere else, and still hand out the medals.
Yeah, I don't like it still. I'd rather just play in the Summer Olympics.
But it's not going to have the same feel. But who cares? COVID has killed everything. So at this point, I know it doesn't. People aren't even going to work. That probably doesn't feel like work either. But they're still getting the job done. These guys need to play for something. I don't like this idea of a World Cup. Like the World Cup of soccer works because it's prestigious. The World Cup of hockey doesn't work because it's got no prestige tied to it, and it's the same. It's going to be the same 3-4 teams that win it all the time. Give these guys a chance. They didn't get a chance to go to the last Olympics. Let them play it remotely. Let them play it here. All the players are here anyway, and that I think that makes the most sense. I don't think it makes sense for them to go over there, and it's not going to happen, obviously, now.
Let me just jump in on the World Cup thing. You know what? It's funny because we call it now the World Cup, and we talk about how we all expect Canada to win. Go back to the late 80s and early 90s when it was actually called the Canada Cup for a reason. Canada, you want to talk about dominating? They dominated. It wasn't even close. But
the Soviets were good back then, though, right?
Yeah,
Frank?
my point was, what made that tournament the kind of the event that it was is that really only Canada and US had majority of NHL players. A lot of these players that came from Sweden, the Soviet Union, the Czech Republic, we've never seen before. And when you saw some of these guys who could play against our NHLers, the Gretzky, Lemieux, teams were like, I got to get that guy over. He has to defect. It's like it was so much of a mystery. You can't play KHL teams now because the league is not as good. So that luster is not there. Really, it all is NHL guys in a different jersey. That's really all it is right now. But that's all we have. And that's where you're going to see your Crosbys, your McKinnons, your McDavids play together. Because in another 4 years, we're not going to have that.
Yeah. So basically, we agree. We want them to play in the Olympics. We just disagree on how to go about that at this point.
It's more of an engagement, Joel. The only reason why I said the All-Star break is because they had those 2 weeks or 2-3 weeks, whatever it is, but we're already engaged into the season. Having them come into the summer, are you going to get people that are watching football, that are watching baseball, that are watching whatever, come and watch a 2-week tournament in hockey, knowing that it's September is still far away? I don't think you get the audience that you would having it now, right in the middle of the season. I'm just looking at it from a viewing standpoint.
I just don't want my players risking injury and losing them. Like the Leafs lost their captain 10 minutes into the playoffs last season. It would really suck if they lost any of their big players before the playoffs even started.
Well,
and every contending team has that same worry. This is not just from a Leaf perspective.
But do you want to compromise a whole tournament just because the Leafs have a chance to win a Stanley Cup?
Yes, selfishly, yes.
Yeah, but that's, so that means when the Leafs are bad, let's send guys.
Exactly. Have as many many breaks as you want. So that's why I loved it in 2014 and 2010.
It's fantasy.
Those seasons were terrible. Those teams were terrible. Take a couple weeks off. No big deal.
Yeah, but how about the quality of the game if you're coming and playing in June? These guys haven't even got in shape yet. They're just as they're
always in shape. This ain't the 80s, man. These guys aren't drinking a 2-4 in the off season. They're working out. They take a 2-week holiday and then they're back in the gym.
That's also a wonderful point, Frank. These guys only get 3 months off a year. Now they've got to spend it playing in another 2-week tournament.
Oh, boo hoo! They only got 3 months off. Now they got to play a tournament in the summer. I think they'll be fine, and they get to represent Canada.
Yeah, I don't know. There are people with 3 months off that constantly complain they don't want to do anything else for those 3 months.
I don't know who you're talking about. I only get 2 months off in the summer.
These debates, man.
When I think of the Winter Olympics, I think of a few things. I think of, like cross country skiing and a few. Hockey is just so associated that I can't picture watching it in the summer. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the Summer Olympics anyway. I'm not going to sit inside and watch like a bunch of the Summer Olympic sports. And the Winter Olympics it's at a great time of year. It works a
You
lot
do
better,
realize the Summer Olympics are far more popular than the Winter Olympics, though, right?
but not for Bobby Bottles, and that's all that really matters on
Okay,
this show. So
Yeah, but you know what, too, Joe? If you extract the hockey element of the Winter Olympics, that is their main attraction of the Olympics. Let's just call it like we see. We know that the hockey is the equivalent of the 100-meter dash, of the 200-meter dash, whatever it is.
For Canada, yes. I don't know if it is for other countries.
You put that in the summer, it's going to be like, they're going to put it on like Tele Latino. Okay, it won't even be on a main channel. You know what I mean? It's like it'll be an afterthought in the Summer Olympics. That's just my opinion. I think more people would be involved in gymnastics, swimming, all that stuff. I don't even think hockey would be an afterthought.
All right. So Bobby, call the IOC in Beijing, get them to ship the medals over to North America, and we'll have the tournament here. Sounds great.
So are they going to now have amateurs be allowed to play, or is it just canceled? Is the hockey canceled? Like, what are they going to do?
I think they're going to try to get amateurs, but if you're an amateur, do you still want to risk going there and risking a quarantine? You test positive, you got to quarantine it there for 3 weeks afterwards. Whether you're an amateur or you're a professional, or a professional in another league, are you really going to want to risk that? I don't know. I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to risk it 100 times out of 100 because you're going for an Olympic gold medal and you're an amateur. So I don't think.
I don't know what
they actually did was they Hockey Canada put 2 general managers in place, one for the NHL guys and one for the guys playing over in Europe. So actually a different management team. So they'll be pulling guys from, we were playing in Switzerland, the KHL, Sweden. So you're going to see
same thing they did in 2018. Yeah,
you're going to see those guys. The guys back in the NHL are now playing in Europe essentially.
Can you talk about like feeling like a pigeon? Like imagine like you have 2 GMs and one's like, hey, you've got to scout the NHL, and the other one, you've got to scout like the ASHL leagues. Like you got to keep your eye on those
on that talent on that Thursday night at 11 p.m.
Like you want to talk about managing like a JV team versus the senior team. Like but yeah, no, those leagues. And I was watching a Swiss game the other day since I'm kind of at home. Yeah, I understand. And I guess it's up to Canada now to field a team. But is Canada even sending a team? Canada, US? I thought they were not going to participate in the games at all.
No, that's a diplomatic.
Yeah, that I know.
No, they'll probably end up still sending one, but again, it'll be your depth NHL 14, 15 forward type of guys. So keep your phone handy.
Oh yeah, I'm watching. I got my COVID test ready.
Well, we'll see how the next couple of weeks shake out and how the scheduling shakes out. They're most definitely going to use that 3-week Olympic break now to schedule all these games that have been postponed and make up all these games. So it's definitely going to be a different season and not what we expected, especially going to the next couple of weeks. But hopefully they can get the Omicron sorted out and get things back to how the first 3 or 4 months of the season went. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Comment. What do you think they should be doing with this Olympic style tournament?